A question a lot of you have is, what is the difference between art and design? And we're so glad you asked this question.
Yes, the difference between art and design can be really tricky to pin down. There are a lot of things they have in common. They both deal with creating something, deal with aesthetics, cultural influences, and a bunch of other things. And a lot of artists and designers dabble in both disciplines. But we'll try to give you an idea from our perspective. So, Ms. Kambhu, do you want to kick us off by talking about art?
Yeah, so art is not usually made with a function in mind, whereas design should be. In art, a big challenge is creating meaning when there's no given purpose or requirements. You, as the artist, make all of the decisions, and that freedom can be destabilizing, but also very exciting. Think of the fear of staring at a blank page. That challenge is scary, but also invigorating. Art can help us get in touch with parts of ourselves that we tend to cut off due to other demands.
Right. And so where art gives you a lot of freedom, design is a bit more reined in. So in design, you'll probably end up applying your art skills like your drawing ability, thinking about light and space and composition, all those elements, but it tends to be in service of some sort of design prompt or problem that you're trying to solve. And that problem should typically be about solving some challenges for your user and take a similar approach to what you did in your design thinking project. But when you get into the professional world of design, there are lots of other factors to consider that influence your work. So there might be the opinions of your company leaders, schedules, budget is a big one. I mean, ultimately, the aim of most designs is actually to make money. So you can see how design requires meeting a lot of different criteria, whereas art aims to be less inhibited.
Yeah, and it can seem like design is all about other people and their requirements, and art is all about self expression. But I think it's actually more complicated than that. It is true that the starting points are different. Design usually starts with an external group, the users, and art often starts internally with the artists. But both designers and artists are constantly negotiating between themselves and the world around them. When you're making a piece of art, it can feel like you alone are in control and making all the decisions. But everything that you know and have experienced that goes into that work of art comes from the world around you. That's why art is always embedded in the culture and time period that it comes from. So think about your experience in the design thinking project and your experience with the drawing as a process exercises. Which one was more comfortable for you? Why? Was it easier for you to find motivation by addressing tangible problems or by using drawing materials in a new way to let go and play? Even though there are differences, though, artists and designers both draw upon a very similar set of skills. Both need to be able to listen, observe, and be attentive to the people and world. And both need to be able to step into that electrifying fear of starting from nothing.
And there are many people who do both art and design. Even though it can be helpful to understand the differences, there's a lot of gray area. And people exercise their creative impulses in all sorts of ways, practical and impractical. So whether you call it art or design, a lot of times it can depend on where you see it, like in a museum versus a store or a house or on the street. In any case, they're both really cool.
Yeah. I wonder also if some of you asked this question because you're thinking about your own career paths or studies you might want to pursue. And if that's the case, we'll be talking more specifically about career paths during our upcoming live Q&A on Tuesday, June 2nd, and we'll also have a blog post tomorrow that you should check out. But I guess the short answer is that generally design will be more business focused and art will be more theory based. But there's also a ton of overlap between the two, so no matter what you're interested in or what approach you take, we encourage you to keep making stuff that energizes you.